Hey friends, you're listening to the AI Entrepreneurs Podcast, where we talk tools, stories, and strategy for today's founders. I'm your host, Angelina Shively, and this show is for entrepreneurs who are curious about AI and want to know how to transform their businesses. In each episode, I share honest conversations about what's working, what's not, and the lessons learned along the way. If you're ready to use AI to save time, think bigger, and build smarter, you're in the right place. Let's go. Hello, everyone. I want to do something just a little bit different today. I am going to be hosting the show all on my own, no guests. And the reason is I just want to think out loud with you for a bit. I don't want to have a polished outline, but just really look at what's been happening in my business lately and what it's got me thinking about. Because here's the thing. Sometimes the most valuable episodes aren't the ones with, here's what I tried, here's what I did. So I'm just going to get into it and share some of the things that have been happening in my business lately. Over on Substack, I have recently joined and I've spent a lot of time there. And I wanted to share something that I didn't expect, which is the growth. And it's really a different feeling. It's not just numbers, although the numbers have moved. But it's more about the quality of the connections that I'm making. The people I'm meeting, they're real, they're present, they actually want to be in conversation. And it's not just this mindless scroll of Facebook. And I've been thinking kind of about why that is. And part of it might be the topic that, AI for business owners is something people generally want to hear about right now. But I think the bigger piece is what I've been doing differently. And one of the things I'm doing is going live. And so my videos are there and it creates these amazing little clips. I'm also doing it in partnership. So for today, for example, I'm going live with a friend of mine and it's just a conversation. But what makes it so powerful isn't the format, but it's the reach. So when two people go live together, you're not just talking to your own audience, you're talking to other audiences. And so just a side note, if anyone wants to go live with me on Substack, just reach out. It's a super fun conversation. And it's really where real connection happens. And secondly, and this one has made a really big difference, and I personally reach out to every person who subscribes. So they get an automatic message that I have curated with a free gift, a Claude guide, but then they also get a direct message from me. And it's not a huge email or an automation that pretends to be personal. It's an actual message. And so I just open it with, hey, welcome. Appreciate you subscribing to my Substack. I'm curious how you're using AI in your business right now. Or what's the one thing you feel you need more training on? And then I just respond back. And that habit has actually, it's very natural to be like, hey, would you like to join our school community? I think you'd be a great fit. And I have had 5 new people join our school community. And those were, it's just really neat to see that organic and very real connection being made. Another thing that I have been absolutely loving in my business is the AI Dream Team that I created. So what's happening on the back end is where it gets pretty exciting. So I named my dream team, and it might sound kind of crazy, but what I started with is the main agent that I called Bestie. And that one's like a robot. And she's essentially my AI chief of staff. Every single morning, I get a little report from her. And what she's set up to do is look at my calendar, scans my Gmails for anything that needs a response, and then gives me this amazing rundown of the day. She'll say something like, hey, you gained 5 new Substack subscribers. Way to go. And then you have a live workshop today. After it wraps up, don't forget to pull the transcript so we can put content from it. And it sounds, okay, that's not really that big of a deal, but I start my day feeling supported instead of overwhelmed. What do I do today? And it's been really nice. I have been very focused on reaching out to 5 people every day. And I have a little tracker that I use. And so I, keep track of it. Oftentimes, just the people who have subscribed on Substack, it's like that's enough people to reach out to. And then under Bestie, I've created other agents. So if you think of it like an actual team where the HR manager knows what everyone else is doing, and then there's other agents that are focused on different pieces. So I have one agent that is named CeCe, and she helps me with my coaching clients. And so when I meet one-to-one on someone, what happens is I record the session with Fathom, totally free. And then as soon as I finish that call, I have connected Claude and Fathom. And so the agent can actually read the transcript. And because I've trained it with a certain format, it knows exactly the right things to pull out. So what it does is it creates a short summary of quick wins of the session. Then it pulls out the action items, as mostly for the client. And then at the bottom of the summary, it knows to add a link to book their next call. And it's designed with HTML so that it looks really sharp. And then what I do is I don't do anything. Actually, it actually sends it over to my drafts folder. So as soon as it runs, then it says, hey, this email is in your draft folder. Go send it. All I have to do is hop over to Gmail, click send, and it sends this awesome email. And what I've noticed is it's super helpful because it puts it back to the clients. And so now they have a summary of what they need to do, as well as the link to book their next session. And that's it. The whole client follow-up system, it's done. The client feels taken care of, and it honestly looks pretty impressive. And then nothing's falling through the crack because there's a system. And, it's really important. And one of the things that I did before I even started with any of this was looked at what are the things that I repeat on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and just kind of jotted down an idea for those agents. Another one that I helped create this week is called Polly the Podcast Assistant, and she's going to help with podcast outreach. And what's so amazing is that it starts off, and I'm actually going to sell this because I think it's so awesome. It's a skill that basically helps you create 5 other skills that kind of come together to be this agent. So it'll help you personalize pitches, think through the outreach strategy. It's trained on my story, my topics, my voice. So I'm not randomly starting from scratch every time. And I think this is the part that we often kind of forget about because these agents are not perfect. And did the first version work every time? No, but that's not the point. It's just like a regular employee that you would hire. You train it over time. The first step is to just get started in creating one. And then secondly is, okay, could the agent do this? Or maybe we need to change it. For example, I was using Blogger and now I'm not using that anymore, WordPress. So I am constantly iterating and updating the agents. And then another cool thing was last night, I could not sleep. I had so many ideas swirling through my head and I was like, oh my gosh, there are so many things that I want to talk about and share and do and all of that. So I really just took my phone, I brain dumped a bunch of things and said, okay, these are the posts that I want to make. This is a topic I want to talk about. And it's like that mental loop when everything feels urgent. I had a client just the other day, it was like, I'm having dreams about Go High Level because I'm so stressed out about getting it to work. And it's okay, instead of laying there fighting with it, I was like, I'm going to grab my phone, brain dump this into an email, and just unloaded everything that was going around in my head. And then I put in the subject line, Bestie, help me with this tomorrow, thinking it would be an email that just she would read and we'd look at it on my daily briefing. But what was crazy is that in seconds, it sent me an email back and was like, Bestie is taking care of your list, organized it into tasks, estimated how long each one would take, and blocked it on your calendar for you. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is crazy. And, when I looked at it, I was like, okay, I can't actually do these things in these slots, but it created all the events. So then I could just move them around, reorganize them. And then my day was like ready to go. And I feel honestly so productive today because I'm getting everything done that I needed to because it was scheduled out on the calendar. It was mind-blowing. So that's the difference between something being perfect and something being useful. I didn't need perfect. I just needed a starting point. and I was willing to just experiment and try some things out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the power of this tool is mind blowing. And I just think I've been reading a little bit about, our brains and knowing what I know about multitasking. We are not designed to hold all of that in for ourselves. So when we try to multitask and juggle all of these things, that's when it leads to overwhelm. And this is just a really great way to get some clarity and feel like, okay, I can get everything done that I need to do. And it was just mind blowing. So if, what I want you to really take away from today is that, you don't have to have this system all figured out before you start. You don't have to know exactly what you want agents to do or how they're going to function or how they're going to work. But what matters is really being able to try and play and not be scared of what might happen. You're not going to break the internet, but you might wake up to a message that says, here's your day laid out for you, and realize that the back end of your business can actually have your back. And so if any of this sparked anything for you, I would love for you to come find me on Substack, jump into our school community. And actually this Thursday coming up, I am teaching a course on how to design agents like this for your business. It's only $59, but it is going to be a game changer. Imagine hiring a team of employees for $59. That's crazy, right? So I'll put that link in the show notes. It is going to be amazing and mind-blowing all at the same time. So thanks for spending time with me today, and I will see you on the next episode. Thanks for listening to the AI Amplified podcast for entrepreneurs. If you want to learn more about my work, head on over to my website at aicoachingwithangelina.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe and share this podcast with a friend. See you next week.